Mike. Toronto. VK on the beat. Check. I'm in Toronto where you wanna get the city love. I'm from Toronto where you wanna get the city love. I'm in Toronto like we wanna get the city love. My city love me back for my city love.
Welcome to episode 1739 of Toronto Mic'd. Proudly brought to you by Great Lakes Brewery, a fiercely independent craft brewery who believes in supporting communities, good times, and brewing amazing beer. Order online for free local home delivery in the GTA. Palma Pasta. Enjoy the taste of fresh, homemade Italian pasta and entrees from Palma Pasta in Mississauga and Oakville. Toronto's Waterfront BIA. Check out what's happening on Toronto's waterfront this summer. Blue Sky Agency, the official distributor of Silence quiet, comfortable, and customizable office pods. Create Sanctuary. That's a tough word to say. She sells Sanctuary. That's what I got to think about. Create Sanctuary within your workspace. Toronto Maple Leafs baseball. Get your butts to Christie Pitts this summer for the best baseball in the city outside the Dome. RecycleMyElectronics.ca. Committing to our planet's future means properly recycling our electronics of the past. And Ridley Funeral Home, pillars of the community since 1921. Today, making his Toronto Mike debut to discuss Toronto's wildlife, it's Andrew Budziak. Welcome, Andrew.
Thanks, Mike.
Do people just call you Bud?
No, it's never really. People have played with nicknames, but it's just Andrew. But to the select group that I went to university with, I'm Budziak, and that's it.
Just Budziak. What
Andrew,
university was this?
This was U of T. That's where I did my undergrad.
Okay, that's where I did my undergrad. We'll find out how much we have in common. You were telling me about in your younger years spending time in New Toronto.
That's right. I was born just not too far from here at Royal York and Lakeshore, and my uncle lived just one street over, and I have, went to high school in Etobicoke, have had a lot of fun times down here.
Is that LCI?
No, that was ECI, just a little
Okay,
bit,
yeah, I know where
bit
that
north
is.
of here, yeah.
I got a nephew going there.
Oh, good stuff. Good school. Still looks good.
See, I think I have a few years on you because I'm the last graduating class from the original Michael Power location, which was in Etobicoke.
Before it combined with St.
Before
Joe's
it became,
there, all boys.
No, it was no, not that old. So
okay.
We were combined, but then after my graduating year, they moved. They moved to near Centennial Park.
Oh,
so they sold the land. I actually walked by it yesterday because I took my mom to this new ice cream place that opened up on 70 Cordova. Anyways, a good size scoop actually for the money. And it's like a condo community. It's called Michael Power Place. But there you go. So I also went to high school, and I'm just taking notes on all the things we have in common.
You can be anywhere in the world, and you will bump into somebody from Etobicoke. It happens.
Okay, I'm going to test that theory.
Okay.
Speaking of anywhere in the world,
yes,
there's a gentleman who listens to this show. He comes out to the TMLX events. His name is Tom. His husband's name is Gord, and he wants to be called YYZ Gord, even though I want to say YYZ Gord.
Okay.
And Tom is the individual. So I mentioned anywhere in the world because he's currently in the Faroe Islands shooting puffins, but he assures me he's shooting them with a camera.
Good stuff.
Not a gun.
Good stuff.
So you know a little bit about shooting wildlife with a camera.
You got to be careful with your verbiage on that.
I'm shooting puffins today. It's what caliber you got going on there? But anyway, he's the one who said to me, Mike, I think you would enjoy a conversation with Andrew Budziak. And here we are.
Yeah, this is great. Yeah, it was cool that he put us in touch. I'm familiar with your podcast, and I always love hearing about all things Toronto. So it was great that Tom hooked us up.
And I made a decision, I guess we're going back about 12, 13 years now. I made a decision that I would just, if I could, if I had the time and the physical ability, I would bike everywhere.
Yep.
I have to go. For example, tonight, I'm getting a tour. There's a guy named Professor Pricklethorn.
Yeah, the tree guy.
The tree guy. So the tree guy has invited me. We're going to take a boat to the island tonight.
Yes.
And he's going to give a robust tour of the flora and fauna and what's going on the island.
Lucky.
Yeah. Well, you want to come with me? I can get you on that boat, Mr. Budziak.
I've done. I mean, doing the island by bike is awesome, but having your own personal tour guide, someone that knows every tree, every bird, everything that lives on that island, that's going to be special.
And he's the guy. I think he's got an alter ego named Warren.
That's Who knows who that is?
We'll see if he's wearing his Lego bow tie.
Sick.
Okay, so but I'm not actually biking on the island. I'm biking to One Yonge Street where the Captain John's was.
Oh yeah.
I still think of that as the home of Captain John.
That should have got historical status.
Why not a plaque?
I got a plaque at least.
Well, Waterfront BIA is a sponsor of the show. So I'm always shouting out activity on the waterfront. So I'm going to report back to everybody on the Toronto Mike listenership here. I'm going to report back on what I learned about our island, because that's part of the Toronto Waterfront BIA jurisdiction. And I'll report back on, just all the fun facts I absorbed tonight. But all this is to say is that since I started biking everywhere in the city, I have been passionate about the Toronto wildlife that I encounter.
Yes.
I keep a tally in my head. Oh my God, I saw this species. I saw and sometimes I'm not sure what I'm seeing, but then I try to look it up and find out. So let's tell everybody who you are off the top. So thank you, Tom, for putting us in touch. And let's find out who you are, and then maybe we can dive into your relationship with Toronto's wildlife before we get into the specific. Actually, you know what? Before you tell us who you are, can we crack open our Great Lakes beer?
Absolutely.
So you asked for a lager, and I brought you a summer ale because that's.
I didn't know that was an option, because this looks great, and it's my sweet spot here. So I'm seeing 4.5%, which I love.
Okay, so that's not too low for you, and it's not too high. It's right.
No, anything over 5 makes me dizzy. So then I love that. Especially in the summer.
Well, that's summer ale. So crack it on the mic.
Here we go.
Okay, I'm going to crack open. I'm also under that 5 because I'm I think this is 3.9 or something. It's called the Sunnyside Session IPA. There's an episode next week with Jeremy Hopkin, who's the official Toronto historian of the Toronto Mike podcast, and we're going to talk about 100 years of the Sunnyside Pavilion.
Oh.
That's happening next week. I can't wait to dive into the Sunnyside Pavilion while drinking my Sunnyside IPA. Here we go.
That place is a gem. Great. So I'm seeing in mine here the summer ale, wheat ale with lemon and ginger.
You'll love it. I think you're going to love it. So cheers to you. Here we
Cheers.
Go. Okay, and then before we find out who the hell is Andrew Budziak and then get into the urban wildlife chat, I want to tell you I have a lasagna in my freezer for you, courtesy of Palma Pasta, the most authentic, delicious Italian food you'll find in the GTA.
I'm coming back on this podcast every week, whether you want me or not. This is
you can camp out in my backyard. I just made the same offer to Ben Rayner. He's going to camp in my backyard. He's looking for shelter.
I got a big tent. He can join me. We can chat music.
Honestly, you would love it. Would you do that? Would you open up your tent to the great Ben Rayner? We'll have
I would. I'd camp. We could do like a fireside chat. He does. He's always a lot of stuff to talk about. I like this can here from the summer ale because they have this tree. I don't know, it's an oak or something, and then surrounded by birds with a nice sunset. So you got the urban wildlife on here. I don't know if that's an actual Toronto tree, but it's pretty
Find out.
Pretty
you could be
you
can fact check. You can be like the Robert Lawson of the GLB artwork.
You know who to talk to tonight. He'd be able to tell you.
Yeah, that's right. Warren Halselton. Okay, so who are you? And by the way, we just acknowledge that your boy is in the room.
Yeah, my boy Esteban over there. He's chilling out. He's been hanging out with me for the day. He was at a cottage hanging out with my folks this week. He's waving away. And now he's just happily playing his.
He's got a National Geographic shirt.
Canadian Geographic. So he's his dad's fellow of the Royal Canadian Geographical Society. So we got a sweet little hoodie. Yeah, thanks a lot. So who am I?
Yeah.
Urban wildlife photographer. That's how I spend most of my year. A lot of my year is photographing urban wildlife. In the cold months, I do, in the last number of years, I've been doing a lot of scuba diving. So that's sort of how I divide my time between photography, video, work around wildlife, some hosting. So a lot of the wildlife I do, that work is very forward-facing, very public-facing. I don't come at this from a science background. I'm a journalist by training. So I love turning those skills to really, I think, the underappreciated wildlife in this country. We love the big stuff that's out in the woods, and rightly so, right? Because it's awesome. Our polar bears, our wolves, all of those creatures. But I'm really like, my happy place is in an urban forest somewhere, an urban green space, or just right out on the street where there are just so many wild stories that happen when you just start opening your eyes.
Okay, fascinating. What is your website? I saw you have a number of projects going on.
Yeah, so andrewbudziak.ca is where a lot of my projects live. I try to put a lot of things up there. I'm most active on Instagram, so Andrew_Budziak. That's where I like that platform because I get to post stuff, but I also get to communicate with people. So I love, DMs, sending, responding, all of that. It's just a great way to chat with people or in the comment section. So yeah, either my Instagram or my website. You can just search my name, and those will come up for you.
Okay, so Instagram would be ideal for you, I would think, because you'd have great photos and stories, and that's what Instagram sort of excels at. So I'm going to tag you on Instagram, follow you on Instagram. This is all going down today.
Fantastic.
Excited to get into it. So we've established you're a Toronto guy, and you still live in Toronto.
I do, North York right now.
Okay, what made you go so far north? I think anything north of Bloor is far north.
There's
what's going on up
there's
there?
a lot of Toronto, man. There's a lot of Toronto when you go north of Eglinton. It's we were during the pandemic. We were living not too far from Dufferin Grove, and decided that we wanted something a little bit different, a bit of a different experience. So we moved up there. We're a stone's throw from the Don Valley, which is great for what I do. Wow. And the Don Valley is one of the largest uninterrupted chunks of urban forestry in the world. If the Don Valley was running through Europe, it would be like the most studied place on that continent. And we sort of, there are Torontonians that have never been there, and you have to go to the Don Valley. You have to go. It's truly a remarkable place, and we live, so close from it. A lot of photos that people have bought from me, I've taken within walking distance of my house. So it's a true gift, and it's so fantastic to live right there.
This ties in nicely with a conversation I had yesterday with a gentleman named Brad Jones. He's actually the owner and the funeral director at Ridley Funeral Home. They're great members of this community in Toronto. And Brad has a podcast called Life's Undertaking. And we were talking about how he's got a cottage on Honey Harbor. And I was talking about my camping trip to the Pinery last week. And I got lost in the stars. I'm seeing, and I haven't I saw I guess we'd call them shooting stars. Like, you stare at the sky and these stars seem to be these, obviously they're not stars, but we call them shooting stars. But I get lost in the sky, and you don't have the light pollution, and it's quite remarkable. And then you kind of have a sense of your place in all this. And then I was talking about what I've been trying to do, which is basically escape civilization without leaving the 416.
Yeah.
And we're going to get into this, but I had a moment, almost like this moment last Tuesday. No, it was this week. I guess it was a few days ago. It was on Tuesday. Oh my goodness. What day is this? Friday. So on Tuesday, I'm paddling. I have a kayak.
Okay.
And it folds up like origami. And then I put it on my back and I bike it to the mouth of the Humber where it hits Lake Ontario. And then I paddle the Humber River. And I'm in one of the inlets there. I can see a deer and her fawn. And then I can see these cranes and these beautiful birds, and we're going to get into all of this because you're the expert. But I got to say, I couldn't see any evidence of civilization, no one else around. I'm surrounded by nature, and I had this moment of I can't believe I'm still in Toronto. This was this moment of because I just paddled the week before. I canoed with my family on the old Ossable Channel, which it runs through the Pinery up near Lake Huron, and this experience on the Humber River felt like that experience, except less people. I actually felt like I was in wildlife, I was in nature, and I was in like Toronto, the actual borough of Toronto.
Toronto is a wild place, and you don't have to go very far until you don't see other people, especially if you pick your times right. God help you at High Park on a Saturday morning or whatever. But out where you are at the mouth of the Humber, that's a wide swath of river. It's amazing. It is a popular spot for kayaking for sure. But there are spots like that where you're going to see things that a lot of people don't get to see because they're not looking for it. You had that experience with the deer and the cranes and all the animals that are there. And you never really have to go too far from your house to experience that. And you're lucky to have a kayak. That's great. That's a great way to get around, or canoe. I would say if you're looking for more of that, if you have a wagon, learn to scuba dive, throw some dive gear. in your wagon, and you could walk right over here to Humber Bay. I was there 2 weeks ago. I did a great dive. The viz wasn't great, but it was just super fun. There's a spot I wanted to explore I hadn't been to.
Can you elaborate on this? Because I haven't really considered scuba diving.
Yeah. So you could get certified in Etobicoke. Like you could there are dive shops that will get you certified for scuba, and Great Lake diving is my favorite, and it's fantastic. It's wild. It's beautiful. There's no reason to get on a plane to have to go dive. And really, like, you can, from here where we are in South Etobicoke, there are some great diving spots. And if you want to talk about being away from it all, even being down 40 feet, you're in the water and there's no one around you. You're not hearing traffic. You're not seeing anything. You're seeing, rocks, maybe some wrecks, seeing fish. You're seeing some very cool aquatic plants. And you pop your head out and there's the CN Tower. Right. And that's our city. Our city, I'll say it, I've said it before, I'll say it again, is such a wild place.
Okay. So now let's hear more from you. First of all, I find that fascinating. So like, I want to hear like name checking of species, and I don't, and even the common ones, because I always play this game with my kids, like name all the animals you see, like my younger two kids, and they're 9 and 11. And then the first one is what we see all day long, every day, which is squirrels. Okay, so, but yeah, let's hear, maybe shout out some spots in Toronto where you've seen various wildlife.
So let's go easy. Let's start really easy. I'd mentioned High Park.
Yeah, love High Park.
The best. If you go to Grenadier, the pond there, right? Really easy to get to. It's super accessible, like wheelchair accessible, the whole thing. There are these chipmunks that are there. And you just see them. Yeah, there's a chipmunk. But look closely. Maybe bring binoculars or a bit of a slightly longer lens if you have it. And these are like battle-worn chipmunks. Like they have scars on their face. They fight. They fought with other animals. Sometimes they're missing like an ear or something like that. And it's just awesome to watch these little guys live their life. And they do what they do. And it's just about taking that moment. And starting with the small stuff is great, because the small stuff is kind of all over the place. We look past it. But those chipmunks are so damn fun to watch. Go to Bellwoods, try to find a white squirrel. And there's not the white squirrel. That white squirrel would be like the oldest squirrel in the world, but they have that gene there. So you get white squirrels in Bellwoods, and those are great. They're obviously celebrities, but that's an animal that's okay to celebritize because they can get away. They can get away like super quickly.
Right.
And going past that, something I was joking about this with my wife, that we are going to set up. She loves wildlife too. We are going to set up lawn chairs on Bathurst on garbage night, like just to watch the rats, because they have the best time and they're so smart. And people talk about raccoons being good problem solvers. Watch these rats, man. They're great. And they're whatever. I know we have a rat problem, but it's also fun as hell to sit and watch them and to go bigger past when you get past the small things.
Well, let's stay at the small things for a moment here.
Okay, sure.
These are the common things. So what is the deal with the white squirrels? Like, what is this? This is just a genetic trait that gets passed on?
That's right.
Okay.
That's right. And I haven't, I gotta be careful. I haven't looked for a little while, but it seems like every year I end up there with my camera, and
sure.
I have a little wildlife series, and when we were doing a bunch of Toronto episodes.
Oh, and I'm going to play a little audio from one of yours. We'll talk about that.
Okay, cool. So yeah, anyway, there was a Toronto episode I did where a couple of years ago, a short I did where we came across a white squirrel there, which is always like super special. And there's a white squirrel cafe, and they show up on shirts and all of that stuff. So yeah, that's an absolute Toronto icon.
Okay, and why is it always Trinity Bellwoods? Like, is this just the geographic area where they're spotted or they live?
Yeah, I mean, I don't.
And how many? Not that you have all the answers because you're the photographer here, but are there? Like, I always thought there was one.
I've seen. So they don't live. They don't live.
The way we talk about it on Reddit. Oh, we saw the white squirrel.
The white squirrel. Yeah, they don't live that long.
Okay.
A couple of years, and I saw my first one probably 12 years ago or something like that.
Can't be the same one then.
I would be
the
amazed.
George Burns of
that's
squirrels.
right. That's right. And they're I think I would assume you could probably get a biologist to confirm this, but I think urban animals generally they're not traveling too far. If they're Bellwood squirrels, I'm sure you can genetically trace them back a good ways. If they're happy there, why would they leave?
That's an interesting point you made. I watched a doc. There's an FOTM, and I have to actually, while you're talking, I'll find out her name because she was lovely, and she did a documentary for the nature of things on urban raccoons. Okay, have you seen this?
Yeah, so that might be Suzanne.
It is Suzanne.
Yeah, she's awesome. She's
Susan.
Yeah.
Susan.
Yeah,
I will
she's,
find that
yeah.
name in a minute because she was amazing.
She's a friend of mine. She's great.
Fleming just popped in my head. It's Susan Fleming. I'm pretty sure. Lovely woman, very knowledgeable. In fact, coincidentally, they were airing that urban raccoon documentary in the nature building at the Pinery.
Suzanne McDonald.
So it's not okay. Maybe we're talking about two different people.
Two different people.
I
Okay.
think Suzanne McDonald was in this documentary, but I believe the filmmaker's name is Susan Fleming.
Oh,
So
the
two people.
filmmaker. I'm sorry. I'm thinking
Yeah.
this is the expert from.
You're
York.
100% right.
Yeah,
The expert is Suzanne McDonald.
Yeah, so she's
and
we're talking about and then
two
Fleming
different
did that.
wonderful
That's right.
people with similar first
Similar
names.
names. Oh,
Okay,
man,
so
imagine
Susan
being on that
Fleming though.
production, yeah.
And I believe they did some kind of GPS,
Yes.
and they wanted to see like how
That's
far,
right.
and it was really like they don't travel far at all. Like these raccoons barely left; they didn't really leave the block most of the time.
They don't have to.
Right.
And coyotes are we can chat about them later.
Okay, yeah,
if you
we
want.
should get
Do you wanna
bring
get
them into
coyotes?
yeah. How do you say that word first of all? Coyote.
Yeah. So here's the pronunciation. Okay. So there's generally in this part of the world we say coyotes.
Because of wild coyote.
Wild coyote. That's right. You got wild coyote. So
We were brainwashed.
You'll get out west in central Canada. You hear coyote.
Yeah.
Coyote. And then depending on where you are, and this is in the States, you'll hear people say yotes. Talk about yotes, which doesn't happen often around here, but we generally say coyotes. And you're talking to somebody that's maybe if they're a bit older, they might say coyotes. But they also urban coyotes are unbelievable. There's a book called Coyote America that if you have any interest in the animal, you gotta pick it up. Okay. And they are we know they're smart. We know that, but they are so adaptable. And urban coyotes, so they've spread. They haven't been here for too long. They actually came to to Toronto last century, and they learn. So in cities where coyotes arrived earlier, there are fewer road deaths. So coyotes learn over generations how to navigate traffic.
Right.
And is it Parkside?
Keel there?
Keel. Yeah, exactly.
Parkside,
Parkside. Yeah.
Sure.
So there is an intersection there where there is video of coyotes watching the lights. Like
Maybe it's Howard Park?
Howard Park. Yeah.
It's like right on the east
That's
side
right.
of
That's right.
Hyde Park.
That's right. They learn how to navigate traffic. Like that's unbelievable.
That's
and
wild.
I've had interactions where I'm photographing them and they're looking at me and they're figuring me out and they're like, yeah, this guy's not getting any closer. It's fine. They're wicked smart. And in terms of areas, coyotes that live out in the forest away from the city, in Algonquin or anywhere like that, they have huge ranges. It could be like 10 square kilometers or something like that. In urban spaces, you can have like more than one family of coyotes in less than a square kilometer. They are so adaptable. They are so perfect at navigating an urban environment. And yeah, for that reason, they are absolutely one of my favorites.
Like you're not far right now from Colonel Samuel Smith Park, which we call Sam Smith. But we were calling it that before the musician took that name, Sam Smith. And people are like, Sam Smith Park. I'm like, we were calling it that. It's Colonel Sam Smith. I mean, late at night, if I'm biking through Colonel Samuel Smith Park, I can hear the coyote. I almost call them coyotes, and I've never called them coyotes in my life. But
I mean, in your head now, you're going to be saying yotes.
Yotes. Yeah, we'll see. They had a team in Phoenix, is what we call the Yotes, but long gone now. But there's a lot of coyote action, and they have recently. I'll be saying because you'll get like in a Facebook group for South Etobicoke, and then somebody will let you know, on this street, there's a coyote walking around at 3 p.m. in the day. Now, I just tell my kids, like, leave them alone.
That's it.
Leave them alone.
That's
they're not looking for you. That's for sure. And I've never heard of any problems. Maybe I do hear periodically in the ravine area about like small dogs. Like, you don't want to have a small dog out, possibly, if there's coyotes.
You can have a small dog out, but keep it on a leash. Keep it close to you. Like
give it a knife or a gun.
Off-leash areas exist for a reason. Like having your having your little dog run around in the bush is like having a hamburger float through your kitchen. Come on. Right. Anyway,
so use some common sense.
I'll take it easy on that one. That's all I got to say about that.
But you've shot some with a camera. Everybody, all the shootings with a camera. Puffins in Toronto, right? We're not going to find any puffin.
No,
action.
maybe in somebody's basement. Who knows?
That's why Tom had to travel for that one.
That's right.
But you got some nice coyote shots.
Like,
where is your favorite coyote shooting neighborhood?
Etobicoke is great. Etobicoke is really great, and the ultimate photos have urban elements in them. It's one thing to get a photo of a coyote, but it's another, or any animal really, but to have like that perfect urban element, which makes what I do pretty challenging because it's not just the animal, it's the setting as well. Like just to say, oh yeah, that's an urban coyote. People are like, yeah, okay. But to show that, to be able to see something that reminds us that it's the city. So Etobicoke's excellent. North York is really good. The East End, there are some good spots. But once again, like Colonel Sam's is great right down the water because you have the urban background.
Right.
That's such a good spot. And I'm not giving away any secrets here. Like there are spots that I won't name. Not
After the
myself.
recording, maybe.
Well,
whisper
yeah,
in my
we
ear?
could talk about that.
Because I won't put it on the record. I just want to maybe bike there and check things out. I'm curious to discover these new spots.
I trust.
I know my spots.
I trust y'all.
And I got a sheet here of all the species I've seen. Obviously,
that you've seen. Okay.
And I'm gonna, as we discuss them, I'm crossing them off. But there is one I heard about on CBC Radio. I don't even know if these are in Toronto. But have you ever seen a coy wolf?
Ooh,
have you heard about these coy wolves?
We got to be careful with that term.
Okay, tell me why.
All right, so
educate me.
That is the most politically charged, one of the most, like, in terms of Canadian wildlife. That a good friend of mine, Hannah Barron, is a wolf biologist, and she's fantastic. Before Urban Wildlife, I did a lot of wolf work. And like she's had people, she does a lot of work with the Algonquin wolf, and she's had people following her in cars, coming to disrupt talks, all of this. And coy wolf is a term that is used or has been used by like some biologists to describe a hybridization between wolves and coyotes. And the prevailing science, from my understanding anyways, and I'm going to probably get myself in trouble here, but whatever, is that it's not a recognized species that, genetics aren't consistent enough to have it be its own thing. Hybridization has always existed between canines. It happens. They're close enough. But there's this idea, I think, where that term becomes really dangerous is it kind of has this implication of like, well, the blood's not pure, so we can be really, we can treat these animals any way we like. And that comes from a certain kind of person, I think, that believes that we should have like absolute dominance over animals, and they're there to serve our purposes. Yeah. So
they were here first.
They were absolutely. Well, I mean, actually in Toronto, to be fair, we were here first, but
I got to write that down.
We made a pretty good
Changes
for
things.
coyote. We made a pretty good environment for them.
Right.
But yeah, that's that. The coy wolf thing is tricky. It's not a term I use. I'd say hybrid or something like that. But that's all I'm going to say on that.
I heard that term. I didn't mean any.
Yeah. Oh God, no, I'm not one of those people. When I heard it, I was like, oh God.
It's like that's a politically charged term.
Mike's going to be getting.
We're mixing it up here.
Mike's getting emails.
Yeah. Well, this is a strange coincidence, which is about an hour ago. I was having a shower. Okay, I went shave and shower. Got to look good for Andrew. Okay,
good stuff.
That's what I'm thinking.
You look great.
Thank
you look
you.
Great, smell great. Yeah.
Thank you. And then I'm listening to CBC Radio, and they have on this expert on, coincidentally, this expert not on urban wildlife, but on actual rural wildlife. This expert on like surviving rural, fantastic stories. And they were asking about a wolf. Somebody asked about a wolf, and he was saying the least of his concerns. He said of all the animals he encounters, wolves are the ones he worries about the least. Not that Toronto's got any wolves, but he worries about them the least. He said, and he dropped this, and I haven't corroborated it, but he seemed like he knew his stuff. He was an expert. He said, in the past 50 years, he says he knows of 3 wolf deaths, like deaths by wolves in the past 50 years. He said in Canada, in the entire country of Canada. Like I think there's a misconception amongst us dumb Torontonians, like that wolves are dangerous.
Wildlife's not dangerous. Like it's not. If you're gonna walk up to a polar bear in Polar Bear Provincial Park and slap it in the face, you're gonna get in trouble. Right. But wolves aren't dangerous. Coyotes aren't dangerous. Like these animals are not. They just want to do their thing, and by and large, they're terrified of us. They don't want to come super close to us. And the ones that are okay coming close to us, we've done something to trigger that, which is usually hand feeding, improper storing of garbage. So I could tell if I'm somewhere and a fox walks up to me.
Yeah. I'm glad we're bringing up foxes.
What I'm going to do is I'm going to kick at it, and I'm going to make a lot of noise, and I'm going to be really mean and aggressive. And that's called hazing. And I'm not going to hit it, but I want that fox has probably in that parking lot or whatever been fed by the same person over and over and over again. So they're habituated. And that's how they die, because foxes are super smart and they associate the sound of cars with food. right? And they're going to get smushed and run over and die. This is what happens. So when I see an animal coming up to me, I kind of give it a kick or make it some noise or whatever, just to that they shouldn't be doing that.
Right.
And that is, hand feeding is a death sentence, an absolute death sentence for all sorts of animals. So going back to your question about safety, the mammals in the city aren't going to do anything to you if you don't do anything to them, and just don't get them in these bad habits, and everybody will be okay.
Let's put out a rule, okay? If you're going to listen to Toronto Mike, if you're going to consider yourself an FOTM, you are not allowed to feed wildlife in this city.
That a boy. Good.
That's a black. I don't want you at any. Listen, don't come to any TMLX events if you're feeding Toronto's wildlife.
Yes. You're going to get, I know some people in the city that might give you a key or something like that. You get some price.
Who do you know? Olivia, is she going to take care of me?
She might. I mean, she might, because they're having a big campaign
kayaks,
right now. She does. The city right now is doing a lot of coyote work. They're actually going to be using some of my photos, I think, for that. Very cool. Which is great, which is super good, but you're doing their work, man, and they didn't even have to send you a press release or anything like that. The Park Lawn Cemetery.
Okay, so you bring up a lot of points I wanted to bring up.
I'll pull back
I bike through it a lot.
Yep.
It is probably my favorite place for seeing deer.
Yeah. Yes, there are a ton of deer there, but also a lot of, let's say, ill-informed people that show up with bags of like carrots and apples and will hand feed.
Angry. Andrew, I'm getting pissed.
I love yelling at these people. Yeah. I'm a chill guy, but it's so fun.
One of those things though, you don't really want to yell at somebody in a cemetery. They might be there to see shout out to Ridley Funeral Home. They might be there to see the
you don't show up with a bag of apples and carrots to see a deceased.
So they're feeding the deer
by hand.
Okay, they're not invited to any TMLX events.
No, get them out of here. And there are a couple of people I've seen like they're there regularly, and they see me with my big lens, and now they just leave. They bolt.
So a dear friend of mine who died way too early, much love to Mike Kick, he's buried at Park Lawn, and when the Raptors were doing their run in 2019, because he was the biggest Raptor fan I knew, I would just bike over and just kind of, he's got his gravestone there, and it was just a nice spot to kind of chill out and hang out or whatever. And I experienced this magic moment in this part of Park Lawn Cemetery where I saw several deer. Like, I'm just quietly there, my bike's there, and there were no noise, no one around. And these deer show up, and I do see a lot. I will say I do a lot of Humber Trail cycling, and particularly near like the old mill park, Kings Mill Park.
Beautiful.
There, and I've seen a lot of deer in my biking travels, but I have never seen so many deer so close than this magic moment in Park Lawn Cemetery. I can't believe people are showing up with apples and carrots to feed this wildlife.
They don't need that. They have like more than enough stuff.
Yeah, I'm glad you're here, Andrew. I'm glad, Tom. You know what, Tom? Even if it goes to hell from here on out, I'm going to say this was a good idea here. So so I got to do a little mop up on some of these freaks. So
let's go.
Just to mop up the most, what I call the most, I think they're the most common wildlife I see, which is squirrels.
Yep.
So these white ones.
Yep.
But I have a fact check. Okay. So shout out to Robert Lawson. This is Andy on the live stream, live.torontomike.com. Andy just points out squirrels, she says, can live up to 20 years. But she says in the wild, they do die a lot sooner because, in the wild you get run over and all that stuff.
So foxes too can live to like 15, 16 years, but we know this because people keep them in their houses. So like that's when you have an animal living like a freakishly long time, it's like a Tiger King situation.
Right.
Yeah, Squirrel King.
She just wants to comment also that we're going off rightly so. We're going off on these people who are feeding the wildlife here. Yeah. And she says she's noticed, and she's an Etobicoke gal. I know Andy. Shout out to Degrassi. She's a big Degrassi head.
Cool.
If I have a Degrassi actors on, I got to let Andy know she can stalk them out here by the tree. Okay. Andy, Andy, can't wait to see you at TMLX 20, which is going to be at the GLB Brew Pub on September 25th. Cannot wait to see you there. But she says she's noticed, and again, she's generalizing just one person's observation, that it's older people who are feeding the wildlife, and she thinks they're just ill-informed, and we just need to do a better job of educating our citizens about the dangers of feeding this wildlife.
I think I said ill-informed. Is that what I said or something like that? Yes.
Andrew and Andy. Are you the same people?
I'm here under the desk. Yeah. God, he's handsome.
Are you texting under the table?
I think it is. It is bad information. And, there are people, like, once again, there are people that I've seen over and over and over again, and I've spoken to them, be like, don't do this. And now I just yell. And the term is people love wildlife to death.
Yeah.
It happens with coyotes, with foxes, with all sorts of animals. And they're just like, oh, it was a harsh winter. We need to feed them. No, you're fine. They're fine. They're fine. Just, and if they die, they die, right? From the cold. Like that's nature. That's how all these things work. It's right. In my mind, when humans should be intervening, it's to correct for things that we've done, and that's it. Otherwise, just leave them be.
Okay, so just to wrap up, the squirrel, again, you're going to be here for several hours if I spend this long on squirrels, except that I guess it depends on, I noticed primarily in this neighborhood, I've noticed black squirrels, but in other neighborhoods I've lived in the city, because I've only been here for 12 years now in South Etobicoke, I've noticed there would be gray squirrels. So is this a Toronto geography?
They're the same thing. There's only one, just, the one squirrel, and they're black and gray versions. I'm not going to get into this because I'm not a biologist. I'm going to get in trouble. But they're, they look different, but they're the same, largely, as as I understand anyway.
Also, there's a podcast I heard recently, reputable source, but I cannot, for the life of me, I want to name check it. I might have to Google this one too. But that basically was suggesting that raccoons are not nearly as smart as we were led to believe.
All right.
Like this was I got to see. It was definitely one of those, you could, good integrity, good journalistic weight behind it.
I guess it depends how smart you thought they were in the first place.
Well, that's right. That's right. We have a conception that raccoons are as smart as your 5-year-old. They're just apparently not that smart. Okay, there's some, but now, so raccoons I'm crossing off the list. I saw a raccoon 2 days ago. I see a lot of raccoons. What is it? Do we know? Is it illness? Is it just what happens when I notice the raccoons during the day? Because what I do is I yell at them and I tell them, go to sleep, go to bed.
That's just temper. They're not doing great. If that happens, makes them go kind of do weird stuff.
Don't like to see them during the day. I'll be honest. It makes me uncomfortable.
And those ones that are wandering around and they kind of follow you. They're not aggressive when they have distemper, but they're super sick. And you can call Toronto Wildlife Center, but they're underfunded and work so hard. And the people that TWC has, they're remarkable and they're doing their best. And they should have a lot more funding because we're a wild city with lots of awesome animals.
Raccoon City,
man. So do you see my shirt?
I saw your shirt. Yeah, you better open up that shirt for the tree pick.
Yeah, so it's a raccoon. You can get these down at the spacing store.
So can I know? So that the bins that they remodeled their bins, of course, the green bin to prevent the raccoons from opening it. And I can show you a side that my raccoons have chewed through the plastic.
Yeah, it's. I don't know if this is just me. I don't know if they're doing that as much anymore. I think it's a lot of effort to work their way through.
No, he didn't. You can see the attempt. They gave up. They didn't really
because they can be pretty chonky. So they gotta get a pretty good size hole.
Right. Okay, we'll get to chonky in a minute because there's an animal I see in Humber Bay Shores that's very chonky. Okay, so to put a bow on the raccoons, I did see I think it was on Instagram, you were talking about your desire to get a good raccoon shot or whatever. But where in the city have you got your best raccoon shots?
I do some kind of high-tech camera trap stuff where I have leave out a DSLR with some flashes and this IR trigger, this infrared passive infrared trigger. So I do this setup. It takes me an hour to do. I leave it overnight somewhere under a bridge, on a rooftop, in an alley. And I just hope a raccoon or some animal passes that way. So I'm not even there when the photo happens. And they trigger it. So that's how I've gotten my best and most interesting urban raccoon photos. And it's a lot of work. I would say 1 out of every 10 nights I get even a usable photo, not something great. So it's a ton of work. It's a ton of time, but the results, when it works, it really works.
Well, you're doing important work, Andrew.
Oh, well, thank you.
Now back to the chipmunks here to say goodbye to them because depending where I am in the city, so there's speaking of the Humber Trail, there's a part of the Humber Trail just a little bit near James Gardens. I'm gonna say where instead of seeing squirrels everywhere, you just see chipmunks everywhere. And you mentioned High Park, you see a lot of chipmunks in High Park. But in this neck of the woods, South Etobicoke, I never see a chipmunk. There's no chipmunks around here. So I find chipmunks seem to be unlike squirrels, which typically are everywhere in this damn city, or raccoons are everywhere, and we'll get to skunks later, but the chipmunks seem to have parts of Toronto where they're plentiful and other parts of Toronto where they're alien.
I don't.
Just my observation.
I like that. And you know what, people? I mean, you don't need a biology degree to like see stuff that's true.
Why did I get one, Andrew?
Well. I mean,
Just
come
kidding.
on, return it. But I think that often there is really great science work that comes from local knowledge. You observe something, and a biologist is like, hey, I'm going to look into that. And then they're like, holy smokes, you were right. So I don't know. It's not something I've noticed, but hey, if there's anybody out, a PhD student that needs a thesis topic.
Like because there's another species I'm going to just ask you about right now, so again, I moved to South Etobicoke 12 years ago.
Beauty.
And I absolutely love it down here, but I really never knew it. I never knew there was like a Toronto. I didn't even know this area really existed, this new Toronto. Like I knew about Mimico, but I feel like it's like I'm basically here because I couldn't afford to be in a bunch of neighborhoods I wanted to live in. And here I ended up here, and I'm like, I'm not leaving here. I love it. Near the lake. It's a great place to be. I really dig it. But what I noticed when I moved in, right away, I noticed that, oh my God, there are a lot of rabbits around. Like you just see rabbits. I saw we were biking to the camp, me and my two youngest, and we saw a rabbit. And it's like normal now to see a rabbit, but though it's still exciting to me because where I grew up was closer to like Jane and Dundas area. Never saw a rabbit. Like, I didn't see a rabbit till I was in my 40s, and now I see rabbits almost every week. I see a rabbit or two, and if I get, like you mentioned Sam Smith Park, I see a bunch there. So what is it? Is it like the chipmunks? Like, it's just there's parts of Toronto that have rabbits and parts that do not.
So I don't know how true this is for urban areas, but I know the rule of thumb is in a lot of spaces where there are rabbits, you will have very high years of rabbit numbers, and then you will have years where there are low rabbit numbers but high fox numbers. So foxes love rabbits, so when there are a lot of foxes, there are fewer rabbits, and then the fox numbers dwindle, and then the rabbit numbers rebound. Is that true for South Etobicoke? I don't know. Interesting.
We'll go to fox next.
Yeah, fox next. Yeah, there's not. Yeah, I mean, for the rabbit thing, I've certainly, and I don't know if this is just because over the years I just take more photos and I pay way more attention to it, but I see rabbits everywhere. I have a photo of a rabbit with the CN Tower in the background that I got doing this camera trap stuff, and I had a couple of people DM me and being like, so there's the CN Tower and the rabbit. You can see them in the same image.
Amazing.
And I had people DM me and be like, I didn't know we had rabbits in the city. Yeah. And that's kind of
but that's how I felt till 12 years ago.
Sure, yeah. And that's the coolest part about what I do. I get to tell people, hey, man, there's rabbits. Yeah, keep your eyes peeled.
Okay, and also, do you know if you're shooting a rabbit or a hare? These are two different species, and I know there's a difference in the ears, and I Google it, but then I forget what the difference is. But I never know if I'm looking at a rabbit or a hare. I just call them all rabbits.
So, depending on which list you look at, there are hares or there are not in Toronto. I have never seen one.
So these are rabbits.
If anybody wants to shoot me a photo of a hare, they can do that. Hares are bigger. Cottontails are what we have around here.
Right.
But
yes, you can see the cottontail.
Yeah, hares are pretty big. They move differently. They're like, their eyes are, they're just completely different. If you saw one, you'd be like, God, that's a big rabbit. But it's a
okay, now, Andy, can you be more specific? Where in South Etobicoke are the chipmunks? Andy's telling me there are chipmunks in South Etobicoke. I know I'm south of Lakeshore. I haven't seen a chipmunk since I moved in, but just let me know where. And because she's in, maybe it's a bit north of here or something. I just want to know some specifics. Give me like an intersection or something. We'll get back to Andy. Okay. Cool. So we're now cooking with gas. Let's just clean up a couple of these common ones real quick and get to the interesting stuff. Because I do want to talk. Well, let's do fox now.
Yeah.
Because, again, I'm just talking about my experience, Andrew, and I don't go looking to shoot these. I'm just hanging around. I saw a fox like on Clendenin. Okay,
Where's that? Where's
Clendenin is like not far from High Park Road, near Quebec Street, where Humberside Collegiate is.
Oh, yeah,
that area.
It's Fox Central.
So I saw a fox there, and I thought, oh, my God, I saw a fox. This was like a big deal to me, because prior to that, I'd only seen a fox at Killarney when I was camping, okay? And here's a fox. And we're going back with this. But then the pandemic hit, and I saw so many foxes, like, in my backyard, all these foxes, but I have not seen a fox in a few years. Talk to me about foxes in Toronto.
Man, they if they don't want to be seen, you will not see them. And I'm sure that in your last 12 years down here, way more foxes have seen you than you've seen foxes. They can move super quick. So I was heading out. It's a couple of years ago. So I'm leaving my house. I'm driving down Leslie, and I get to Leslie and Shepherd. Okay. In my car, I have my big long lens. I have my camera. I have my monopod, all this stuff. And I'm heading out to this green space where I thought I was going to see some urban wildlife. And as I'm waiting at the intersection, North York General's right there. The IKEA is not far from there. Right. This beautiful fox with a massive tail crosses Leslie.
Red fox?
Oh yeah. That's what. Yeah, that's
so I've seen a black fox.
Yeah. Okay. There's some. Yeah, those are super special. But this massive, almost cartoonish.
Right.
Crosses the street.
Like the Robin Hood cartoon.
Oh yeah, exactly like the Robin Hood cartoon. And I'm looking at this thing, and I know there wasn't traffic. I'd put my 4-ways on, take my camera out. But by the time I even got my door open, it would be gone. And I'm watching this thing, and I'm like, are you kidding me? Wow. But hey, if I was traveling by bike, I might have got it. So hey, kudos to you for going.
Do you do a lot of cycling into the city?
I do. What I've been doing
Don Valley Trail stuff?
Well, what I've been doing more now for my photography is actually taking my bike on transit, because you could throw it on the front of buses and bring it on the subway and all that stuff. So it's just depending on where I'm going, whether it's like Tommy Thompson or the Island. Not so much High Park, but a couple of other spots. I'm always going on bike, and I don't know what the correct term is, but hot tip for any people that like doing photography on bikes, or if you have a heavy backpack, they call it a girl's bike. You know, where the bar goes down.
Of course,
yeah, because I guess that's like a throw. Like they assume any female cyclist has a skirt on at any time. I don't know. There's probably a better term. So if somebody wants to correct me, like I don't want to call it a girl's bike. No, but I know I can see it
in my mind.
Yeah, people know what I'm talking about. If you have a heavy backpack on, that is like the best design, because you don't have to throw your leg over and fall off and stumble off your bike like an idiot. So that's the bike to get if you're a photographer.
Pro tip.
Yeah.
Okay, we're learning a lot here today, and I'm got to start cooking with gas here. There's an animal I don't like to see it because I'm afraid of it, but I see it periodically here. Is skunks.
Yeah.
Any good skunk pics?
Yeah, they're what I've noticed. You're saying that raccoons maybe aren't as smart as we thought. Right. Skunks are really dumb, and I think they have bad vision. And that's what happened. My brother got skunked a couple summers ago. He was on a scooter, and it ran between his legs and just nailed him at like some ungodly hour in the morning.
Well, that's my fear.
I was crying with laughing when he told me about that. So yeah, Tom, good Etobicoke boy, got nice and skunked there. Just up in Renforth or something. Stay away. Just give them their space. They don't want. It's exhausting for them to skunk you. Like don't do it. Don't let your dog chase after them. Just give them their space.
If I see a skunk, I run like 100 meters. At least I'm like Donovan Bailey. Okay, I'm 100 meters in 9.84 seconds.
Gonzo. Yeah. Whatever. What can you do, right? But one crosses you, pops out of a bush, and you get skunked, and God help you.
But at night I'll see him in the backyard all the time, and I'm like, I just gotta wake up smelling that here. My goodness gracious. Okay, the chonky animal I want to ask you about, and I typically see one of these species, Humber Bay Shores, which is because I do that waterfront trail all the time on my bike. But beavers.
Yeah.
Where are good spots to see a beaver?
Exactly where you were. That's where you were.
That's where I always see it.
It's interesting. I mean, they'll occupy a bank for 10 years and then move on and find somewhere else. But generally down by the water, there are some at Tommy Thompson. They're a great spot for that. And I don't know if there historically have been a bunch in Grenadier, but I don't know if there are any there right now. But what a cool animal to see. And often we confuse them with muskrats too, or vice versa. Because when they're swimming with their little faces out from a distance, it's hard to tell them apart. But yeah, beavers, I mean, how special to see one of those guys. And they are chunky, and they are sassy, and they can be, you keep your fingers away from those things. They eat wood, but they'll also take a finger if you're not careful.
So my list are actual animals I've seen with my own eyes in Toronto. Mm-hmm. Okay, and then at the end, when we burn through this list, you can tell me all the things you've shot or seen or both that I haven't, and then I'll get jealous, and then I'll make it my life mission to spot these guys. I saw one of these last week, and they're kind of scary to see at night. But possums.
Oh, possums are so sweet. They're so gentle. And their only defense is looking kind of odd.
That's it, because usually it's your light of the bike that spots them.
Yeah,
and they look kind of spooky. But I have done my reading, and they are our friends.
I love them, and they eat ticks. They go to town on ticks. Get them in your backyard. And Suzanne, who we were talking about earlier, does a lot of urban possum work.
Suzanne McDonald.
Yeah, and they don't. They're as I understand, they're kind of recent to the city, and they have a really hard time in winter. So there are different programs to get boxes in your backyard to kind of help protect them. And I'm like, you could take that as you want it. Should we be doing that? Should we not? I mean, they're here. I love them. They eat ticks. Like, let's help these guys.
All right, there's a animal, and again, similar area where I see the beaver, and I feel like it's Leave It to Beaver. What's the beaver doing here? Where's Ward? Okay,
but
it's mink.
Yeah.
Tell me about, have you shot any
Oh,
minks?
yeah. I mean, if anywhere where there's water and rocks,
that's
right where you will see minks. They're incredible swimmers. They're fast. They're also super curious. And I know if I'm watching one and it sees me, it'll kind of run. And then I just wait because it's going to stop. It's going to turn around. It's going to look at me. And they're charismatic. They're funny. Like, they're funny animals, and they pop their little heads out and they look at you. And I know if any of your listeners have tried to photograph them, they're actually quite hard to photograph because they have this black, oily fur that gets wet, and it's shiny and it's glossy, and you really need good light conditions to get a good mink photo.
Have you got a good mink photo, though?
I don't think so. I've got a couple where I'm like, look at the reflection on the ear. That's crazy. It looks like a mirror. Mm-hmm. But they're cute. Their little faces are adorable.
Absolutely. Now so I'm bringing back Andy because she's my official Toronto wildlife correspondent here, because she gave me her list, what she's seen with her eyes, and I've seen everything she's seen except for this one animal I'm going to ask you about, because I actually saw this animal at the Pinery, and every time I go to the Pinery, once a year I kind of do a camping trip there. It's on Lake Huron near Grand Bend. Mm-hmm. I always see, and my kids find this to be a highlight, when we see the wild turkeys, okay? But I have personally never seen a wild turkey in Toronto, but Andy tells me she has seen wild turkeys in Toronto. Have you shot any wild turkeys in Toronto, Andrew?
Ooh, I'm
gonna get jealous. I
gotta be careful what we define as Toronto, right? Because
your mayor is Olivia Chow.
Yeah, your mayor's
in this area. You've seen the wild turkeys. Why? Have you seen it like in Mississauga or something?
Yeah, so there was one.
Pickering?
I think wasn't there one on like King Street? There's one got super urban a while ago, like made its way in really far. I'm gonna give an evasive answer. I don't know if I have photographed one within like Toronto proper. I'd have to really think about that.
But in the GTA, you've definitely.
Oh yeah, in the GTA for sure.
Okay, and I got her just last. Andy can come back in the show anytime she comments, but she's telling me in the South Etobicoke chipmunks are north of Queensway. She tells me, so maybe I'm a bit south for these chipmunks here. All right. So I purposely, and you can bring these up as we hear from you, but that's pretty much my list. I've ignored, obviously I've seen frogs and I've seen turtles and I've seen snakes.
Yep.
Okay. I don't want to disrespect these species. We love all of our wildlife, but I was thinking more of like, I don't know.
You didn't bring up, which I'm sure you've seen, bats.
Oh, yes. You know what? I forgot. They're a mammal too. I should know this.
Yeah. So, I don't know if I want to get it. Okay. I'll do this.
Get into it.
Margaret Atwood and her husband kind of are the name of, they're the names on these Toronto guides that were done up a number of years ago, which there are a whole bunch of different ones about the trees, in the city. There's one about mammals, and it's kind of like here's this list of mammals that are in the city, sort of near the city, historically used to be there. So that whole great guide was thrown up on YouTube. On Wikipedia. Okay. And on Wikipedia, it's like, here are all the Toronto mammals. And I downloaded that, and I'm like, I'm going to photograph all these. And when I said that publicly, I got a bunch of articles written about all that stuff. Very cool.
Amazing.
And I was like, man, like no one's seen a porcupine in the city, but there's like porcupine on this list, or like all these animals. Right. And then I had to really research it. And in the guide, they don't say that those animals are here. They're like, they've historically been here or whatever. So I've made it kind of my private little quiet life's mission to actually get a conclusive list of what's in the city. And
I'm so interested in this, Andrew.
I'm not going to throw out numbers. I'm not going to say any of that stuff because, like, I don't want to. One day I will. Maybe I'll come back here and break that news. Be like, here's the conclusive list, not just my work, but what other people have seen. So we don't have porcupines here. I'm going
to chime in to say on this episode we recorded yesterday of Life's Undertaking from Ridley Funeral Home, Pillars of this Community since 1921. Brad Jones told me he's seen a porcupine in the city of Toronto.
So they might have come in.
That's not calling Brad Jones a liar.
No. I'm not convinced. Like for this is what I was going to say about all this. Where I was going with this is like for an animal to be here, it can't just wander in because you have bears in the Rouge. There have been bears in the Rouge Valley.
I told because my youngest is afraid of bears, and I assured my youngest there are no bears in Toronto. Northern. We pay the bear tax,
and then the bear tax, and the homeowner tax. The bear. there are in the Northern Rouge, there are bear signs, right? And they've come close. I don't know if they've ever been in like Toronto proper. Well, back in the day they were, but so there's a Star article where I am in this article saying there are no otters in Toronto, right? No river otters. I have since photographed river otters in the city.
Wow.
But what I still say in that article to be true, that if you have a couple kind of scattered here, and maybe they're here and maybe they're not, they're here, these years they're not, it doesn't do us any good to like be a greener, like to say that we're a greener city than we are, and we should always be really conservative with what's here. And I think to say that we have something here, I think you need generations.
Like, it can't be an outlier, you're saying.
That's right. That's sort of what I'm saying, and maybe I'm just saying this to be controversial, but I hate this idea that we could like tout ourselves as like a perfect green city. We are a green city. We're great.
Right.
I've photographed urban wildlife all across.
We have an
country.
amazing ravine system.
We
here.
have an amazing ravine system, and we love it. And we
Shout
use
out to
it.
Sean McCullough.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I was DMing the other day about some of this stuff.
Yeah, he's going to come back and talk about walking Toronto.
Oh, good stuff. But anyway, the kind of going to this, I would love one day to publish this like definitive list. But bats are really tricky, and I've embedded with the Toronto Zoo team, their incredible bat team, to photograph some of the birds some of the bats that they catch for research purposes, like catch and release, and document really, really, really important work in the Rouge that they do. It's amazing. And the river otters are really funny. Like,
where were they?
Animal that the bats?
No, the river otters.
That I'm not going to say. Not going to say. And the reason is that is an animal that gets attention. You could find out. You can look around. You'll find it out. But,
okay.
It's
interesting. I feel like I brought up the Pinery a lot, but it was only last week I was there, so it's all fresh in my mind. But they have bat motels.
The bat boxes?
Yeah,
those
they
are
call
sick.
them bat motels.
Yeah, I built one, and I spent like a whole bunch of money on wood on it, and like all this stuff, and not a single bat has ever gone in it.
Okay, one more animal on my list, and then you can tell me what I missed, and then I want to play this audio and talk to you about some of your projects here. But I want to talk in a little more detail. My favorite animal, my favorite wildlife to see in the city of Toronto are deer.
Yeah.
That's my favorite.
Yeah. Yeah.
They're the biggest, they're beautiful, and we talked a little bit about Park Lawn Cemetery, but I have seen a lot in Kingsmill Park and other parts of the Humber River. But what can you share with us about shooting with a camera deer in the 416?
They are really big for an urban animal.
Yeah.
And it's incredible to see them like next to the road. It's incredible to see these animals next to a building, and still for me, they feel out of place. And I'm the urban wildlife guy, and they seem to me like they are, I'm not saying that obviously they should be here. They are here. It's amazing that they're here. But every time I see them, I'm like, God, how do you do it?
Where am I?
And they're one of the few animals that I will take time out in the winter to go photograph specifically, because seeing them against a snowy background in the dawn is phenomenal. And it's there. You can find them. They're out there. We have. I don't like saying too many. That's not a good. That's not a good way to look at these things. But they don't really have predators. Coyotes generally don't take. Everybody's got a coyote story. Oh yeah, I saw a coyote take down a deer. No, you didn't. Your uncle told you that story, and he was lying. But they don't. We don't have wolves here. We don't have bears. So their numbers are pretty nuts in the city. So the downside is biologically, generally when you get an overpopulation of something, bad things happen. But the good thing is for us is that we can see them, and I think they're a great entry animal into urban wildlife. Like, you see a deer in the city, you're hooked.
Yeah,
you're hooked.
You're 100% right, and it's really the animal I'm most interested in encountering. And then if I do see one, I'll get off my bike and quietly see how close I can get. Like, it's just so beautiful, and just like you said, so large.
Don't get too close. They're big. You can stand back.
I don't get too close. Well, they don't let me get too close. No. But Andy saw a big buck strolling down South Kingsway one time, which sounds like that's from what Northern Exposure had the moose, right? I feel like that's a scene out of Northern Exposure when you got the big buck strolling down South Kingsway.
Yeah, I've seen them on South Kingsway as well, and there's some symbolism there I like, out of a big buck, like with these like massive homes that I'm sure some of them have a couple of antlers hanging racks in the basement there, and
it's the wrong kind of shooting.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah,
wrong kind of shooting here.
As long as if you're doing it for meat, it's okay. Not in the city. Don't go hunting in the city. You can get yourself in trouble.
Don't hunt in the city. I'm gonna write that down. And don't feed the wildlife and don't shoot the wildlife.
There
with
we go.
Guns.
And
that's our rule
stuff,
for TMLX events
in the city anyway.
In the 416 we're talking about here. Hey, let me just shout out a couple of things happening in the 416. I just want to shout out a couple of things, and then I want to welcome a new partner, and then I want to play that audio that I've got from your one of your many great projects, Andrew. This has been great, by the way. I'm digging this. So Tom, you don't have to sweat it. I enjoyed my conversation with Andrew because I know Tom and Gord are actually now watching us live.
Good stuff. Oh, good.
All the way from Puffin Island or wherever the heck they are.
Thanks for the hookup, buddy.
There you go. All right. So you can celebrate African culture in Toronto. This is happening on August 8th, 9th, and 10th, coming up, and a couple of weekends from now. It's called the Habari Africa Festival. It's a vibrant, multidisciplinary African arts festival. It's returning to Toronto. It's free. It's all ages. You can bring your boy here. You can. It's a fantastic weekend of rich art, tastes, and sounds from the African continent. So that's one of the many amazing things happening on Toronto's waterfront this summer. And if you want to go a bit north, Christie Pitts. The next 3 Saturdays, I believe, at 7:30 p.m. under the lights will be Toronto Maple Leafs baseball games. Great baseball. You can enjoy a lager on the hill, grab a hot dog, not a hot dog. Take in the, apparently I've been saying hot dog for my entire life. Hut, like H-U-T, hot dog. Can you say hot dog? Am I the only one who has to focus on it to say it properly?
Hot dog?
Yeah, like
hot dog?
You just
hot
say
dog?
it so naturally. Why am I saying hot dog?
Is that a Toronto thing? You know, like Toronto, like that whole thing? Like,
oh yeah, where they say
it's
don't say the second T.
Yeah, maybe we say hot dog. Oh, I'm saying hot dog now.
You know what? Maybe it's contagious.
Here we go.
Can you say brewery?
Brewery.
Yeah,
brewery.
Don't but you have to, because
the rural juror.
I was going to say you have to say rural, I suppose, to differentiate your
Yeah.
wildlife from the urban and the rural. We're into the
right.
urban here.
Yeah.
I have a book here for you, Andrew, on the history of Toronto Maple Leafs baseball. They play at Christie Pitts again. We love our Toronto Maple Leafs baseball. Okay.
This is fantastic. Thank you. I love this stuff. The history of Christie Pitts is fantastic, and our city has amazing sports history, doesn't it? Like beyond national, international sports. Like we have great stuff that's happened in the city.
On the island.
Is Babe Ruth's ball still out there?
That's the island.
Is that where you're gonna?
I was gonna go there because the different iterations of the Leafs baseball, but that iteration that they were playing the Providence Grays, and Babe Ruth, and this is a fact, he hit his first professional home run on Toronto's island, where I'll be tonight.
So that ball, no one's ever going to find that. It's disintegrated.
I'm going to look for it tonight.
I hate people. Hate to break it to anybody that has hopes of finding it, but it's
right. What happens to a ball when it's submerged
mush.
for 100 years?
It's mush.
I'm going to find out. I'm going to find out here. We have a new sponsor. So before I shout out the new sponsor, this is very exciting to me when a new sponsor comes on board. But I do want to let you know about Recycle My Electronics, Andrew. If you have an old phone or an old laptop or old cables that you know you should get rid of, don't throw it in the garbage, because those chemicals will end up in our landfill. Go to recyclemyelectronics.ca, put your postal code in there, and find out where you can drop it off to be properly recycled. You got it, Andrew?
100%. Anyone with old cameras that you don't want to shoot or are broken, it's not just the batteries. There's a lot of stuff in there. Lenses that maybe you've cracked and are beyond repair. Try to get them fixed, but if you can't, dispose of them properly.
Welcome to the TMU, to the Toronto Mic'd family, Blue Sky Agency. I'm talking about Doug Mills. His address is doug@blueskyagency.ca. By the way, if you want to reach Doug Mills, Blue Sky Agency has forged partnerships with established office furniture brands like Silon and Green Furniture Concept and Rouliard, and Doug Mills is eager to chat up any FOTM, any Toronto Mic listener looking for dynamic and creative work environments. Remember, it's doug@blueskyagency.ca, and welcome to the family, Blue Sky Agency. That's pretty exciting, Andrew. You know, as I say excited, I realize I never gave you a measuring tape from Ridley Funeral Home, so I'm just going to grab one for you.
Oh, that's good. You know what? That's good. You can measuring tapes are super handy to have when you're out in the field, because you can measure tracks and take photos. Look at this. There are wildlife photographers and biologists that actually have tattooed on their fingers, like if you make an L, inch marks, so you can like measure tracks out. But instead, I'll just use this great Ridley funeral measuring tape. Way easier.
Okay, I have a little audio, less than a minute, and you're going to tell us what we're listening to here. You ready?
Okay.
Toronto is my home. I've done a lot of my urban wildlife photography here. I've explored a lot of the hidden spaces in and around the city. So instead of doing a travel episode here, which would be weird because I live here, I'm going to do something a bit different. The city has given me a lot of incredible moments, which have resulted in some of my favorite photos. I want to use this episode to show you why I find this city so inspiring. This is a bit of a love letter to the city's forests, waters, and animals. Plus, I'm going to try to get a photo of a raccoon because, well, this is Toronto.
What are we listening to here, Andrew?
That is the opening to episode 6 of my show, Edge of Frame. So I
say the name
hosted
again?
Edge of Frame.
Edge of Frame.
Edge of Frame.
Okay.
This is an urban wildlife travel series that I hosted. And prior to this, I had done a bunch of short episodes in Toronto. And then we traveled the country and went to Vancouver, Edmonton, Saskatoon, Toronto, Montreal, and St. John's, Newfoundland. Each episode is my attempt to get a single photo, and all sorts of stuff happens along the way. There are great adventures, misadventures, food scenes, drink scenes, all sorts of fun. And actually today, the day we're recording this, the final episode came out last night. So the Toronto episode is the last episode. It was released last night. So all 6 episodes are up there now for good. They were out in public a very short, for about a year or so ago, for a very short period of time, but now they're being re-released and they'll be up there forever and ever. Amen. So in that Toronto episode, I wanted to do something a little bit different. So I did a couple of vignettes about the city and some storytelling that I've been dying to do for years. And yeah, there's the obvious raccoon content, which ended up being so fun and so unique. And these very generous people let me go onto their balcony where they have this like ancient vineyard that's creeped up there. And the raccoons love eating those grapes. They know when they're ripe enough to eat. So there were a lot of grapes. So people were able to, I think, make some wine, but also let the raccoons have their fair share. But it was such a fun episode to do, and it's very hard to tell a flushed out story of your hometown sometimes. It can be quite tricky. So I wanted to give this one a lot of love, a lot of attention, a lot of care. It is a bit different from the rest of the season, the rest of the episodes, a little bit different from anything I've ever done creatively before, and I love it. It was super happy. It was just a great experience.
Right in my wheelhouse. So look forward to watching that. I hope everybody listening checks it out. Honestly, this is subject matter that I dig so much here.
Yeah.
I took that moment because I had heard that clip I played, obviously, in the past. So I took that moment to Google what was the podcast I listened to where they talked about raccoons not being nearly as bright as we were led to believe. It's Revisionist History.
Oh.
So with Malcolm Gladwell. Absolutely.
Yeah.
And the episode's called Rat versus... Yeah, he's a Toronto guy.
Yeah.
Rat versus Raccoon. So and speaking of rat, I feel like we didn't really talk about it because... if one was spotted in this house, we'd have a for sale sign on the front lawn, not because of me, but because of my wife. Maybe your wife. I think your wife likes the rats more than my wife.
Yeah,
does.
maybe not like chewing through our wires or anything like that. But
I mean, I don't want to find out what happens when if a rodent makes its way into this home. We might have to move, but. Rats and mice, obviously. I've seen many a rat in a mice, although thankfully no rats in this house, I'm happy to say. But I know that you mentioned Bathurst, but I know there's parts of the city where there are many rats.
They're everywhere. They're everywhere.
Yeah,
they're here too.
I don't like them myself, but I wouldn't necessarily move if one found its way in here. But did I miss, Andrew, any animals that you have spotted in the 416? We went through a pretty long list of stuff I've seen. We added the wild turkeys for Andy. I have not yet seen a wild turkey, but what have you seen? Anything I missed?
There are, speaking of like rats and small things like that, there are moles. Little things like that maybe, unfortunately, usually we've seen them once clipping with the lawnmower or something like that. Voles, the small things like that. We have a couple of different kinds of mice that are here. They're great. They're so fun and cute to see. I mentioned the river otter, which if you're lucky,
top secret location.
You'll catch one of those. I did mention yeah, we went through deers. We went through a lot of them, and then the various kinds of bats. I'm running through my mammal list in my mind, and I know I'm going to walk out of here and forget something.
But, oh yeah, there's
we did cover a lot of them, and yeah, I mean, I know that we mentioned porcupines there, and they're
only Brad Jones has seen one.
Well, you know what? I'm
going to put you in touch with Brad because he walks his dog, and it might have been even Colonel Samuel Smith Park.
Oh, good. That would be. I'd love.
He's at 14th and Lakeshore.
I would love to be corrected on this. Absolutely love it because they're awesome. They're so cool.
Well, I feel like that, much like the skunks, I might run 100 meters the other direction if I saw a porcupine.
Oh, we haven't really talked about like frogs or
let's give a little love on the way out.
Here's what I want to talk about: snapping turtles.
Yeah.
So all turtles in Ontario, I believe, are still considered threatened species. Yeah. So they're all in trouble.
The protectors are hard at work.
Yes, they are, and there are great efforts being made to help our snapping turtles. I had this experience probably right where you were kayaking in the Humber, where I was on this trail, and this commotion is happening in the water, and I thought it was like frogs jumping off or something like that. And I'm looking, I'm like, what is that? Like, what am I seeing? What's splish splashing? And it was snapping turtles mating. That is the craziest, most violent, wild thing. They claw each other in the eye. They're making this awful noise. They're biting each other. It is phenomenal. And I was photographing this. I'm like, should I be photographing this? And I went back and I read all about it.
But they signed a consent form.
That's right. Yeah, that's right. There's an intimacy coordinator that I heard on there. And it was so nuts. And I'm like, once again, this is happening in our city. These two dinosaurs just absolutely mangling each other. And they've been doing this forever. That's how species, I don't want to ruin it for anybody, but yeah, the birds and the bees extend
Spoiler
to
alert.
reptiles as well, and amphibians. And my God, it was an absolute spectacle. And that was one of those moments that I'll never forget, seeing something so wild right here.
Well, I'm glad you brought up the turtles because many turtles spotted kayaking that Humber River, like so many. And also near, again, back to Samuel Smith Park, mainly because I tweet a lot, but there is a little pond there in there or whatever where there's lots of turtles and there's a lot of the protective, whatever the thing the protectors are doing where they basically put that box on, they say there's baby there's
so
turtle eggs
that's where the eggs are. Yeah, so they know where the turtles will lay their eggs. Once they go, they put these little boxes over them with mesh on the top, and then there's a little exit for them pointed towards the water because they'll always go back to the water.
Rennie Park, which is a park in the West End near Swansea there. My youngest daughter, had a house league soccer game there on a Wednesday night, and there were turtle protectors on the scene.
Good stuff.
And when a turtle was close to the field, we were ordered by these turtle protectors, these passionate women were told us we had to stop playing.
Love that. That's
well, we
awesome.
did. So, we complied, of course. We love turtles or whatever.
Awesome.
But it was I think that's the first time in my life a house league soccer game was halted because they said the turtle had to make its way to the water.
Were there any parents freaking out?
It's a house league 9-year-old girl soccer. I think we were all, but there were a couple of definitely some they kind of like bewildered, like, wait, so we actually have to stop. This game has to stop because they turtles. But we stopped for the turtles. So.
That makes me so happy. Yeah. That's such a good story. And like, I mean, okay, I wish it was like, you had, in my mind, there's some like impassioned parents just like losing their mind. What do you mean you're stopping the game?
I think that's the difference because my son plays a competitive soccer league. In fact, we had an experience last week where the other team's parents were basically like going at the ref, like,
get a life.
And our parents, and I actually almost, and I'm not a fighting man, Andrew. Okay. I'm a lover, not a fighter.
Yeah.
But I was ready to throw down with several parents on the other team because of the way, in this ref, thankfully it wasn't, sometimes the ref is like a teenager. Okay. This ref was like a 60-year-old man. Okay. So I just want to point that out. He wasn't taking any of it. Yeah. But I was like, and and even their, I guess the players will of course emulate the behavior of their parents. This is what, so their team was doing the chewing out too. And our team didn't say, our coach ordered our team not to say a thing about the ref or whatever. But I mean, I could see in the competitive soccer league, I would love to be at a competitive soccer league with my 11-year-old boy and have the turtles show up and have the turtle protectors say, you have to stop playing. I would love to witness
and
this.
These parents just losing
Give
their
me my video. Give me my camera. I'm taking video because these parents are going to lose their Shit.
A friend of mine, his kid is like 9 and plays baseball.
Yeah.
And the league almost got shut down because of parents being nuts. So
It's wild, right?
I'm just
It's
gonna
amateur kids playing.
I'm going to start bringing turtles to games. I'm not, but I want to.
Oh my goodness, Andrew! Did I miss anything that I should have brought up? Like, I mean, you have so many projects on the go, and I'm going to remind people that it is Andrew Budziak, BUDZIAK.com. Okay, go to andrewbudziak.com for all your Andrew Budziak needs.
There we go.
Is there anything? I mean, I can't wait to go to YouTube and watch that. Give me that name again.
Edge of Frame.
Edge of Frame.
And the
rolls
YouTube's
off the tongue.
under my name. And hey, in the winter, if you want to try something a bit different, we could go do a little ice diving in the winter if you want to do something like that.
I haven't done any diving. Like I'm not, so
well, you don't have to go. We can hang. We could check it out.
But I want to do stuff. Like, I mean, I only started last summer kayaking the city because usually I would only kayak when I was camping or at a cottage or something.
Let's get you certified and we'll go for some cold water diving in the winter. Just like we could walk there, man.
Well, like you have me, you have my interest because like I'm definitely, this is my kind of thing.
I'll take you.
Oh my God, Andrew!
Let's get you certified. We'll go for a dive.
I'll have to give Tom and Gordy Palma Pasta lasagna for the hookup here. Loving this so much. So I'll report back to the listenership on my experience with Professor Pricklethorn's alias, his alter ego Warren, who's taking me on. We're going to meet at the foot of One Yonge Street. We're going to boat to the island, and he's going to do this great tour, and I'm going to take notes, take pictures, and report back. That's going to be cool, and I'm glad we did this, Andrew.
This is great. Thanks for having me. So much fun.
Don't leave without your Palma Pasta lasagna. You got your beer, you got your measuring tape, and your Maple Leafs history book there. Babe Ruth and more.
Love it.
Not in that book is the revelation from Rob Butler, 1993 World Series champion of the Toronto Blue Jays, who coaches the Toronto Maple Leafs baseball team, who told me under previous ownership they had a rule, nobody's allowed to bat 500 in the IBL. And he said he went 12 for 13 for a stretch, and he watched his average go down because the owner would shave hits. There was like a hit the other direction. Usually you hear this going, oh, we're trying to inflate your average. No. This is a huge scandal in previous ownership that was exposed on Toronto Mike from Rob Butler. Just that's not in the book.
I love that.
Print the legend, okay?
Mm-hmm. All right. Taking notes.
And that brings us to the end of our 1,739th show. Go to torontomike.com for all your Toronto Mike needs. Much love to all who made this possible. That's Great Lakes Brewery. Hope you enjoyed the summer ale. Was it
delicious?
Tasty?
Crispy.
You're taking some home with you if I didn't make that clear.
Perfect for a sunny Friday.
Enjoy. Palma Pasta. Got a lasagna in my freezer for you. Toronto's Waterfront BIA. Toronto Maple Leafs baseball the next Saturday nights. All three next Saturday nights. You got to get to Christie Pitts. 7:30 p.m. starts. RecycleMyElectronics.ca. And of course, welcome Blue Sky Agency, new sponsor of Toronto Mike for the next couple of months. And Ridley Funeral Home, that episode where Brad and I talked about wildlife that dropped yesterday. The podcast is called Life's Undertaking. Brad Jones reveals he saw a porcupine. You can hear it there. See you all. I'm checking out my calendar for next week. Who's following up here? Oh, exciting. The Sunnyside Pavilion turning 100, the historical episode of Jeremy Hopkin. That's on Wednesday. And then Colin Cripps from Blue Rodeo makes his Toronto Mike debut on Thursday. And then I'm going to have a chat with, believe it or not, Sophie B. Hawkins. So that's a couple of great musicians back to back after the Sunnyside. Enjoy your long weekend, Toronto. See you soon.